Hey everyone and welcome to the Learning Ladder. I hope you're all doing well. So I thought I'd do a plan with me and I've actually remembered to record this before I get all the work boxes done. So we're going to do it real time as I get everything ready. So it's Thursday today, so we've got one day of school left, which obviously is Friday tomorrow, and we are going to do music lesson, and then we're going to do, I thought we'll do our unit study this week. We're going to do poetry tea time instead. So fun, back to first week back to school, exciting tea time. We always really enjoy those. So I'll show you the books I'm going to use for that. Nothing new or anything, it's just stuff we already had, but they are really good, and I definitely think that certain books you hardly ever see on YouTube, and I don't understand why, because they're really good. But anyway, I'll show you those books in a second. So that's what I've got to, that's what's going to happen tomorrow, but after that I need to obviously get everything ready for next week. So we're doing full normal curriculum next week, so I'm going to get it all into the work boxes. I'll go through our cart, which is just out of frame here, put new games on there for next week. I also need to switch one of our books because we finished, well actually we've got one page left in one of the books to do for our morning book basket. This is like our morning basket trolley, but often it's not always done in the morning. Sometimes it's done at lunchtime, sometimes it's done in the evening. It doesn't, morning basket is just the name that we give it, even though it's not mostly done in the morning. But anyway, one of the books we've almost finished, so I need to decide which one is going to replace that, but I'll show you that in a second. In terms of bedtime basket, we have, I'll show you where I'm reading actually. So we're currently doing the Farthing series. This is one of the books I never see on YouTube, and I don't know why. It's so good. So this is series 2. So there are 6 books in total, but they put them together. So for example, this has got 2 books in. So we read the first 2, which was collection 1. This is collection 2, which is the next 2 books in the series. And then we've got the last, which is collection 3, which is the last 2 books. I think that's it. Sometimes they write, additional ones to the series, so there might be something else that I'm missing. But anyway, I need to order volume 3 because that's how much we've got left. So we've only got, I think, 4 chapters left, and then we're done. So this focused on, well, it continued in Whitedale Park, but then it also focused on Bold, which is Fox's son in the Fox Cub. Bold, which was the second part of this book series, where he actually left Whitedale Park and went to live free, and everything else that happened to him along the way. So I'm really excited to see what series 3 is going to be, because I know from what's ending in this one that it's going to be really good. So I'm excited to find out once we get that one. But I never see the Farthing series. This is by Colin Dan, and I never see anybody mention it at all on YouTube, and I don't know why, because it's so good. I love this series. It was actually also a series on TV, but they did change some of the characters. For example, Al and Ada are both men in this book, boys, male, but in this TV series they changed them into girls, which I actually do like. I think that was a good change, because Al being the girl in the series actually made quite a lot of sense. I never read the books. I always watched the series, or I watched the series when I was a child, and then I watched it again as an adult. I never read the books, and I actually really do like the books. They're really good. So yes, we haven't watched all of the series as to where we are in the books. We're ahead of the series now. So it's nice to actually read the books first and then go back and watch the rest of the series. I don't know if the series is all of the books or if the series is just the first. I don't know. I'll have to look back at our box set. Anyway, this is a book that I never see on here, and Farthing Wood, The Animals of Farthing Wood. It's so good. Definitely give it a try. So it's by Colin Dan. The vocabulary is very rich in this series, and I just don't understand why I never see it on here. It's very strange. But anyway, definitely recommend that one. We're also starting the, well, not starting, but we're reading the Blue Fairy book. So basically we just pick a different, there are quite a few stories in here, and we just pick, my daughter just picks which one she wants to do. But yeah, so it's sort of classic tales. It does have a few pictures in, so we like that one. And then we are starting the Bird book. I think I did read a couple of chapters of this, but we put it down because we're reading something else. but we want to pick that back up again. And then for Bedtime Basket, we also have A World Full of Animal Stories. She also does her reading as well, so she has her book that she's currently reading in the Bedtime Basket, and then she always brings me another book to read, and that is often usually a picture book. She'll just pick one that she wants to read that night, and then we'll do everything else. We don't always read each book each night. We, you know, space it out depending on what we're interested in, but that's what we're currently reading in our Bedtime Basket, in case you're interested. It's so cold today, so excuse my dressing gown wrapped around me because it's freezing. It's really, really cold. We've had snow, but it's been so wet, it's not sticking at all, but it's, you know, that snow temperature, but it's just like a swamp, my garden, because of all the rain. It's just horrible, and the dogs are always completely, they'll be clean and they'll go outside and they'll be completely covered in mud because it's so muddy. It's horrible. I really need to extend my patio to solve that problem, because a lot of my garden is grass, so naturally in the rain it just gets super muddy. So yes, that's not fun. But anyway, let's get back to Poetry Tea Time. So I'll show you the books that we're going to be doing tomorrow. So we've got the Wordsworth classic, A Child's Gardener versus Robert Louis Stevenson. So that's that one, and it's got a good mix in this one too. Mix of poems. So we've got, I don't know if you can actually see, but that's what it looks like table contents wise. I really like that one. And then we've also got the Dover Children's Thrift Classic, Favourite Poems of Childhood. So there's this one, it's a good one too. And my daughter absolutely loves these. This is from our language arts curriculum, but I definitely want to get some more of his books. So this one is Where the Sidewalk Ends. She thinks they are hilarious, these little poems. So definitely recommend this one. We've also got a book of animal poetry. We've had this for ages. This is the National Geographic one. It's got lovely pictures. We do have on our morning basket shelf Tiger, Tiger, Burning Bright, which is a poem that we read a day. So we'll obviously just pick up the poem for that day. So as you can see, the photos are lovely in this one. We also have Be Glad Your Nose Is On Your Face, which is not here, but it's in the other room ready to go, which is a recommended book in Torchlight. I think it's level 1 or level 2. Level 2, I think it is. But that's so good. It's a great poetry book. My daughter really loves that. It's really funny. So it's not, you know, your classical poetry, but, you know, it's good to have a variety of different styles and genres and techniques and everything. So I do like to have a mixture, you know, some classics, some not, and she absolutely loves that book. And then we've got our picture books. And again, this is a series that I never see on YouTube, and I do not understand for the life of me why not. So this is the Harry McClary series. It's also Slinky Malinky as well, and this is by Linley Dodd. So there are quite a few books in this series. So if your child likes dogs and cats and is preschool and up, these books are so good. So it's rhyming text, so it's perfect for, you know, enriching vocabulary obviously, and for helping with reading. The pictures are just beautiful. You know, it's illustrated so well, and Harry McClary gets into all kinds of mischief, and then the cat is Slinky Malinky, and he gets into all kinds of mischief too. But they're just so good. My pile is just falling down. They're just amazing. I just love the richness of the vocabulary. So yes, if your child is into dogs or cats, then definitely recommend them. I think I got this set from my daughter when she was 4 months old, and we've read them ever since. You know, we'll sometimes obviously go for a while without reading them, but we'll always come back to them, and they're just so good. I just can't understand why I never see them on here. But again, obviously people have only got so much time and everything else. Maybe they just don't talk about them, but I love them. They're just so good. But yes, rhyming text throughout. So Poetry Tea Time, really good option. So that's everything. I'm going to pick that up for tomorrow anyway, apart from the Be Glad Your Nose Is On Your Face. So let's get back to next week, or let's get to next week, and I'm going to start emptying out the work boxes, and I'll pick up with you in a minute. Before I do start the work boxes, I thought I'd just mention what I'm currently reading. Oh, and this is another thing we have. This is Deal Born Write Your Own Poems book. She's been really into poetry lately. This has got all kinds of different activities in for them to do. I love these activity books. That's another thing we'll dig into. It all started because I'd told her about a poem that I wrote in high school, and she absolutely loved it, and she's been non-stop talking about poetry ever since. So it just kind of it always interests me how suddenly out of nowhere your kids can suddenly be really interested in something. And you know, just encouraging that with, like I say, with get a few books out just really enriches and excites them further with their new interest, if you like. So anyway, what I'm currently reading, so I have started the Charlotte Mason, the original series. So there are 6 volumes in her series of books. I read ages ago, several years ago, the what is it called, Charlotte Mason Companion by, oh my gosh, I can't remember her name now. Oh, Andriola is the surname, but I can't for the life of me think what her first name is. Basically, I read her version, so she'd read all of the Charlotte Mason ones and then had made her own interpretation and had drawn on her own experiences with the Charlotte Mason method. But I've never read the original from Charlotte Mason books, but I found you can find them online for free, most of them. But then I found one where they'd taken the original, so it's unabridged, it's, you know, completely the original version, but put it onto the Kindle. And I did have to buy it. It was $1.99, but to me it was worth it because I can just read it on my Kindle. It's so much easier than having to because you can get the original PDF, but you know, it is the original, so it's just a photocopy of the book, and it's hard to read on an e-reader or anything like that. So I was really happy to find that I could get them on the Kindle. So I've got all 6 on my Kindle, so I'm currently reading, this is my homeschool read obviously, for homeschool, the Charlotte Mason original 6-book series, and they are so good. I'm really loving it so far. Okay, so I'm just getting our workboxes together. So what I do first is language arts. I'm going through my teacher's guide, which is just here. It's really heavy. And I'm going through what we have got in the plan for next week. So our topic is it's and it is, and then we've got apostrophes, and then we're reviewing there, and they are. So that's what we've got. The book this week is The Girl Like Spaghetti, Why You Can't Manage Without Apostrophes. So that's going to be a fun one. We are also doing Let's Draw a Story. We are doing, where have you wandered off to? Hang on a sec. We are doing Time Capsule again. For writing, we are going to use the Writer's Toolbox, and we are on the Fairytale section this week. So we've got a few different exercises, and then at the end of the week there is an assignment to use an online story maker to create a fairy tale. Or you can do it on paper, but we'll probably do the online story maker because that'll be fun and different. My daughter will enjoy that. Doing the Child's Intro to Poetry, and we are doing our lyrical verse this week. And then also for our writing, so basically the spaghetti book was for our grammar. For our writing, our book is The Other Side of the Story. Obviously it's about fairy tales, but it's from the other perspective. So what it actually says is on the Friday when they do their online story maker assignment, maybe do it from a different perspective. So, you know, maybe instead of doing Snow White from Snow White's point of view, we could maybe do the dwarf or something along those lines. So that's going to be really interesting. I'll see what she wants to do. I'm really looking forward to getting into this book. So that's what we're going to be doing for our language arts Beowulf grammar curriculum. What I do now is I fill our folders with any of the worksheets that we need for each day of the week. Okay, so that's everything for language arts in the drawers. The only thing I need to do now is just put our spelling in, but that's easy enough. It's just basically the next lesson along. And then I'm going to start on maths. Again, maths is super easy to plan and organise because literally I just put the old lessons that we finished in her binder, and then take out the new lessons and put them into folders and then into the workbox ready for next week. And we used the Simply Good and Beautiful Maths. Okay, next I'm going through Journey Through Time, and what I use is my planning pages. So we've got the week at the top, then it says books, YouTube, website and activities. So what I'll do is put what books we're using for that week, for those 2 days, what YouTube videos we're going to watch, what websites we're going to watch, and then what activities we're going to do. So on the Monday, because my daughter was ill the last week of school, we didn't do the second day of history. So basically we still have a book to read. So we've got It's Disgusting and We Ate It. That's what we're going to read. We're also doing The Escape, this book, Tombs of Egypt, so a couple of activities in that one. And we're finishing our Evermore Pocket for the daily life in Egypt. And then on the Tuesday, and our activity is to mummify an apple. And on the Tuesday, we are going to move on to mummies. Now, mummies is going to take a couple of weeks because there are so many different things to do with mummies. So what we're going to do is read the book first. We have the mummy book where it shows you different layers of a mummy. And then we've got a couple of YouTube videos on how mummies were made. And then we've got a couple of websites. So what is a mummy? And then are mummies real? And then we've got the second activity. So I have mentioned we've got mummify an apple. But we've also got make a mummy. So what I'll do is ask which one of the two she'd like to do. And then we'll do that activity. So that's what we're going to do for a history. And then she can do her notebook page in her student book, which you've seen if you've watched my Journey Through Time video, and that's how to make a mummy. So she'll illustrate the steps and explain how to make a mummy once we've done all the research and everything else. So that's what we're going to do for history this week. Okay, so on Monday we're going to do our Good and the Beautiful human biology. Now we should have done the circulatory system that week that she was ill, which was the last week of school. So we didn't do that because what my plan was initially was we were going to do, well, originally, was that we were going to do the nervous system on Monday, and then we were going to go on to the digestive system on Tuesday along with my Learning on Science units, because the topic we were going to do was digestion, which is episode 102, which is for lunch. But we didn't do the circulatory system that week because we were off sick. So what we're going to do this week is we're going to do the circulatory system and the nervous system next week, and then the week after we're going to do the digestive system along with Dining on Science. It just makes sense to do the digestive system from the Good and the Beautiful unit lesson first on the Monday, and then do the Dining on Science lessons for digestion on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. So that's what we're going to do. So we're not going to do Dining on Science this week. We're just going to do 2 lessons instead of the Good and the Beautiful. So the circulatory system and the nervous system, and then next week, so the week after, we will do the digestive system along with Dining on Science. So that's worked out in the end anyway. And that's life, isn't it? When you homeschool, sometimes you get sick. We haven't been sick for the longest time, so the fact that we actually missed a couple of lessons is odd because we haven't done that for so long. Because of all the lockdowns, we just haven't been sick, but we were. So that's where it's led to, but it's fine because we'll just do biology, the digestive system along with the Dining on Science biology lesson next week. For art, we alternate between this hardcore art book and then the Master Books art. So we've been doing Master Books pretty much for the last several weeks, so I think it's going to be a hardcore art week this week. I like the project that they've picked, so we're going to do hardcore art this week, so that's going to be fun. That's for Monday. So for baking on Tuesday, I'm going to ask her what she wants to make over the weekend, and then we'll go shopping for supplies for baking for Tuesday. For Wednesday we have French, and we used a new curriculum this year that we haven't used before. And yeah, I like it, but I actually prefer the one we did last year. So we've been, trudging through it, and that sounds terrible because it's not that bad. But I think that we're enjoying the one we did last year much more. So I think this term, now that we've started the new term, I'm going to go back to the one we used last year because we hadn't finished it. It was a several year program. So I'm going to go back to the one we were doing last year for a couple of weeks and see, do I prefer that? Do I really prefer the other one? But the good thing about the one that we've got this year is it has storybooks with it, so we can just incorporate the storybooks, because I did like the element, which is one of the reasons why I bought it. So we can incorporate the storybooks along with what we were doing before anyway. So I think that's what we're going to do for the next couple of weeks, and then I'm going to decide which curriculum I prefer, but I'll definitely be switching to a different French curriculum next year because I'm just not loving the one we've picked this year. This week we're just going to keep it simple because it's our first proper week back, so we're going to do keyboarding without tears, typing, and then she'll have a computer time for the story writing in our language arts as well, where she's making the story online too. Friday we are going to do our unit study, so we've still got our vet unit to do. We didn't do the vet unit the last week, as I said, because we were sick, so we've still got, I think we've got 2 or 3 lessons in the vet unit, and then we're going to switch to our new unit, so our nature study unit. But the vet unit's been so good, so we are doing Campfire Curriculum's veterinary unit, and then we've got our books that go along with it from the shelf, and then she's also got her, I'll show you, hang on a sec. She's got 2 journals that she can do. She has a cat lover's journal, and then she also has the homeschooling with pets journal, which is from a thinking tree. So we do our unit study on a Friday. We do our unit study, which it currently is veterinary. We read the books that I'll show you on the shelf in a minute, and then she'll do one of her journals, whichever one she wants to do that week she picks. And then we also do on Friday music. So she has been doing the piano from thinking tree, and then she's also been doing recorder too. So here's our little morning cart shelf that I was telling you about. So this is the folder for the folder box for Friday. So in here she has all her vet books. So she's got Be the Vet. We have got the Fearless Felines 32 Tales of Courageous Cats, and she uses this as part of her cat journal too, because they have pages in there where you can write news articles about cats, and so this is a really good one to use with that one. We have Vet Academy, which she does pages out of, and she really enjoys. We have the Veterinary Anatomy colouring book. She'll pick something out of here and learn all the different parts and then colour it. We also have the I Want to Be a Veterinarian, so we'll read this one on a Friday too. This Amazing Animal Heroes. This is such a good one. I love hearing about all the different animal heroes, and she really does too. And we've read about some really interesting ones and all the things that they did and how they, particularly during the war, which is fascinating. We haven't got to the war in history yet, but we do. It'll be nice to go back to this book and have a look at it again. And then our read aloud on a Friday is Tales from a Young Vet, which obviously goes along with our veterinary unit. Okay, and then what we've been reading daily, we've been reading Tiger, Tiger Burning Bright, which is a animal poem for every day of the year. We really like this book. We've been reading the Lost Words book, but we've only got 2 pages left in this one, and then that one's done. So that's the one we're going to replace, and that book has been really interesting. Basically, they removed a bunch of words from the dictionary, and they illustrated this book so beautifully. I've shown it in a previous video, so I'm not going to get it out, but it's just a really good book, and they've shown you all the different words that were removed and then illustrated it so lovely. It's a beautiful book. We also do, there's Christmas wrapping paper here, we also do the vocabulary comic book, vocabulary cartoons, and we do the Mrs. Wordsmith Storyteller's Word a Day. So those are all things we are currently doing. However, as I said, this one is about to be done. So what I think I'm going to do is ask her which she would like to do. So we've got a choice of philosophy for kids, so that's a good option. We also might do how to be a person, so useful, super important skills to learn before you're grown up. Or we might do the absolutely everything encyclopedia. So that's what that book is going to replace, and then I'll give her a choice and she can pick out of those 3. Okay, moving down the shelf, we've got some read-alouds, not read-alouds, readers here. We've also got some stencils, we've got bananagrams, we've got some games here, multiplication flashcards, time flashcards. We've got these little story cubes. We've got some timers and dice for games, and then we've got all these different little card games and things. So they all pretty much stay, apart from these. I do change these out periodically. And then we have our games on the bottom shelf, which is a range of different skills, and I'm going to switch these out now, and then I'll show you what I've decided on for this week. Okay, so I'm putting Silly Story Laboratory in. It was already in there, but I'm not taking it out because it deals with all the different parts of speech, and it's really useful to have. And we didn't use it that much in the over the Christmas period, so I think it's fine to stay out. Basically, it has the story, and then all the tiles are colour-coded, and you can make them as silly as you want or sensible as you want, whichever you'd like. But the basic gist is you're practising with different parts of speech. This is the Story Maker. This is part of our language arts curriculum. Occasionally she'll ask us to use it, so I just keep that in there so I know where it is, basically. For our logic game, I'm putting Dog Pile in. So basically you have the little card here. They have different levels, and then you have to arrange the dogs as it says to fit perfectly. So there are 48 challenge cards from beginner to advanced, and this is from age 10 up, but this is okay for us to play. It's absolutely fine. Because we are doing fairy tales and obviously storytelling, I decided to put a few different options in for storytelling. So we've got the big Rory Story cubes. We have got the little enchanted ones, which obviously are more fairy tale themed. For one maths option, I'm putting in Pet Me. We have got the Tellytale Fairytale storytelling game. So basically you get the wooden base, you get all the different characters, and you get the dice as well to actually tell your story with. So you can set it up as a little scene. It's really fun. She really likes this one. I've also got this Fairytale. It's a Disney one. So it has all the different Disney books in it. And then it also has characters here that you can stand. It has the cards here, and then you have your dice to play along with. I'm using the hot dots. I've just put the Jolly Grammar in just for some review. I've also got Telling the Time in again for review, and then I've also got the two cool pens that go along with it. So we've got the cat and the dog, and then we have the Brain Box Once Upon a Time game 2. And basically you have your cards, you have to look at the picture and then roll your dice, we'll set the timer, and then you have to answer the question. But it's got all the different stories in here. So what was that one? We have got Alice in Wonderland. Yay, that's a good one to pick. I really love Alice in Wonderland. So that's a really fun game. My idea with all of these games is that we play one in the afternoon a day, sometimes more than that, but generally that's what I like to do, and it tends to be in the afternoon. We don't tend to do it in the morning because I always feel like we have to rush if we do, so it's more like after lunchtime, afternoon time, and we'll get open one of these. I realised I completely forgot to tell you about geography. So we do 2 days of geography. The first day we are doing the skill sharpeners, grade 4, and basically we just do where we're up to, next along, and then we're also doing movement from Collins Primary, and again we just do where we're up to, next along. And then on the Thursday we are doing a unit study. We're doing Gather Round, and we're doing Africa, and we haven't done very much of it at all, to be honest. I think we're on lesson 3, because something's always been a trip, or we've done one of these on the alternate days, but we do like it. It is a year 1 unit, so it is different. The first unit we did from Gather Round was year 3, and they did change the style and layout and everything else, and move things around, and I really like the newer versions, but that doesn't mean there's anything wrong with it. It's absolutely fine. We do enjoy it, and we're up to Egypt, I believe, so that'll be good anyway, because obviously we're talking about Egypt in history, so it's quite appropriate, and it actually has worked out well. But my idea is to really pick up the pace on that this year and get, you know, as much of that done, because we do really like the Gather Round units. So yes, so that's what we're doing for geography. So that's everything in my little plan with me this week. I hope that was enjoyable. Anything else? I don't think I've forgotten anything else, but you know, as it is with every week, sometimes you'll do things that you didn't have planned. Often that tends to be creative activities, so my daughter will suddenly start making something, some kind of project that we'll do that week. But those types of things I prefer for her to take the lead on, rather than me, you know, assign a certain thing. What I've just shown you is like the basics, the bare bones of what we'll do, and then we always end up doing extra bits and bobs throughout the week, but a lot of that is child-led, which I really like. So, you know, she gets to have it, opportunity to be inspired, and, you know, choose what she'd like to do as well. So that's everything this week, and I will see you in my next video. Take care, bye for now.